TinMan here in the BAM. Here I've got a nice little custom box for Mr. B. I'll give you an overview of the top before we go into any details. Start off with the back, all silver, Teflon, SO239s. I did swap to using the silver on silver. Just because the gold ones not necessarily were an issue, but the fact of silver on silver to me just looks better, especially on this kind of box. We're using a 3/4 gauge OFC pre-10 and a little oversized 8 gauge wire. More than enough for this little beast. Of course, your ground lug, and I see I missed putting something on it, which right in the middle of the video I am going to do, because if we do things right around here. Alright, there we go. Forgot to put the little plug in there. And there's the serial number. Out, in. Alright. Glossy black does hold fingerprints, guys. We got black grill covers, blue LED fans, super duper quiet. The noise you hear are my spectrum analyzers and oscilloscope and some other equipment on the other side. All right, we'll start on the front. Here we've got a 10 8.2 HG staged bias. Now what we have is a 2x8. It is staged. You can either run your 2 peel, your 8 peel, or both. Now, this is a AB bias staged as well. So he can run it on AM, or he can flip it up and run it on sideband. So he's on AM, it is in C class, and on sideband it is in AB. Now, you can, for your AM, you can flip it up to sideband and put it in bias mode, but you'll have a delay when you unkey. We put a good Allen Bradley variable, and I kind of, I was thinking about going chrome grills to do this chrome and black theme, but I did go with black grills. I did go with chrome since I had chrome on the front for your toggle switches, so I did a chrome knob here. And if I can get that camera low enough, you see you got min, which is minimum, and then max. And the TinMan logo. That is a powder coat. My powder coat guy calls wet black. It looks like it's wet. All right, kind of give you an overview. Now I'll go back to the toggle switches real quick. And this thing has a master switch. This master switch controls everything. If the master switch is not up, nothing will turn on, not even the fan. So when you hit the master, the fans come on. Now, that doesn't mean that the 2 peel section or the 8 peel section will work until you have the master on. So I've labeled it master. Something, we all builders out here kind of come up with their own little verbiage, I guess you should say. So I called it master, and then you can run it in 2 peel and only 2 peel. You can then flip it up sideband, delay, whatever you want to do there, or run it in AM. You can turn that off, run just your straight 8, just 8. If you got a good high-powered radio, I guess I need to back up. Let's go back to the 2. Your 2 need to run no more than 2 watts dead key. I recommend 1.5 watts, 1.75 max. 1.5 would be what you need to run. Your 8 peel, you can dead key probably around, let's see here, I'd say 10 watts max, and swing up to 275, 300 watts into the 8 peel. 250 would be your ideal. Now this is an HG box. With all HG boxes, your SWRs need to be 1.3 or less. And that means you need to keep it as close to 50 ohms and keep that reactance low. What kills HGs, guys, are your SWRs, your reflect, and voltage. Voltage, no more than 15 volts, period. End of story. There's guys out there running on 15.5, 18, 21 volts. Mr. Coley has ran one of my 2-pill comp boxes in one of his key downs. I believe he said 17, 18 volts. And he was getting like, out of a 2-pill, he was getting like 600 bird. He was hitting it with a 1x2. Of course, it's competition. You're going to do stupid stuff like that. But not saying that he did something stupid, just, you know, a stupid idea. And he knows it, so, but he won a trophy out of it. So just remember. So going back to the switches, 2-pill. Now, if you want it in 2x8, you flip them both up. Your master's got to be on 2-pill, 8-pill, and then of course it's in AM because it's down. I guess I shouldn't show you guys this way. You know, if you want sideband, flip it up. If you want just the 8, y'all get the draft of it. So, all right, turn it off. Let's go on the inside. This box is very, very, very busy. We'll start at the back. 30 amp relay, 10 amp relay for your 2-pill, and then your biasing circuits, running a good name brand Dale resistor. This is in a 16-pill cabinet. You can see the array of wires for controlling it. Your good Allen Bradley, if I can get to it, variable. Now, I also did the voltage mod for B+, so you can see that particular wires are going to each individual transistor instead of one. Now, I did not B+, the driver section. It's just 2290s. That's more than adequate. So just kind of give you guys an overview. Alright, so now I'm going to let you guys stare at the front, if I can. And I apologize for all the sniffling. Now we're going to do some various testing here. I actually have the owner of this box in my shop. We call him Mr. B. And no, not Mr. Beast, Mr. B. We're going to start off, we're going to use all 3 of these today. Then we're going to move on to his radio. Eagle Eye did this radio for him. I referred him to Eagle Eye, and Eagle Eye purchased this, modded it, shipped it to him. So this is the first time it's been keyed up. Actually, I'm lying. We keyed it up right before this video just to test it, see the settings on it. So again, we're going to start off with the Top 99V. It does about 40 peak and about 12 to 16 on the average scale. And this one does about 8 to 10 on the average scale. I call this my peak radio. I call this my average radio. This is a comp striker done by Truck CB Sales for me, oh geez, some time ago, a long time ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago or something like that. So I typically hit 8 pills with just it, and it'll produce between 800 and 1,000 bird. So now, as my mouth is getting dry, let's flip some slugs around here. Actually, no, let's leave it like that. We'll start off at a 500 watt slug, 2 through 30, and average. Lights off, lights on, lights off. Now on the 500 scale, be reading the middle. That is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Get the gist? 1,000 watt slug, 2 through 30. As you see on the inside, peak light is on, off. So this will be our peak reading meter. Be reading the bottom scale. That's 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000. That'll be our peak. Then a 5 watt coaxial dynamic slug is a 25 through 60. Reflect back from the 10,000 watt bird dummy load. Be reading that top scale. I'm sorry. Be reading the middle scale. 1 watt, 2 watt, 3 watt, 4 watt, 5 watt. Now, you guys seen a couple of my videos where I am showing this for my radio drive. And this is reverse back between 99V or the striker and the amplifiers. That's 5 watts reflect. Be reading that middle scale. And we got oscilloscope, spectrum analyzer. I've been using this Spectrum for years. It has been sent back twice for calibration. So don't want nobody saying that I'm using some hokey pokey stuff. If I could pull it down, I'd show you the certification on the back. So I actually think they put it right here and I moved it to the back. So it is what it is. I like matching equipment. It's a little bit older. It's not digital. I've got some digitals. I do not like them. I'll be using a 1000 hertz tone injector. 1000 hertz. Now, I showed you guys with videos as well. Once this is in tone, I push that button, 1000 hertz tone. I can move it here and use the microphone. There's actually more wattage when I talk with this microphone than I do with a tone. But I use the tone to make it easy for you guys and easy for me for the videos. Alright, so let's get on with the story. Let's start off with just the 2-peel. 2-peel, 2-peel, 2-peel. Alright, y'all ready? 2-peel only. Be using the Top 99V. About $1.40 average and right at 300 on the peak scale. Reflect? Nothing. Nothing. That's not too bad for a driver. So exactly what I said, no more than 300. And we got that variable. So we can turn that variable about halfway. Oh, looky there. We're right about 200 on the peak scale, about 195, a little less than 100 bird. We can carry it to 9 o'clock. About 125, 35, somewhere in there on the peak scale, and just a little bit over 100 watts on the average scale. But for the rest of the presentation, we'll be turning it all the way up. And so now we're going to turn the 2-peel off. Turn just the 8-peel on. Now, I'm going to swap radios. I'm going to do this all in one shot now. I'm going to have to do some chop ups. Alright, so on the striker, let's turn that off. Now the striker does about 40 to 50 on the average scale, between 80 and 90 on the peak scale. So we turn just the 8-peel on. You can't hit your 2-peel with a comp striker. Now his striker has been modified to do no more than 40 watts. So once we get to that. Alright, just the 8-peel is on. I'm about to swap some slugs out. Can no longer use the 2500 watts. So now we're going to turn the peak kit off on the 1000. Be reading average. 2500 watt will now be peak. Alright, so just the striker. Now remember, with lower drives, your reflect may go up a little bit because it's made and set for a little bit higher drive. But we'll check and see. So peak scale almost 1200, and on the average scale right at 300. And let's look at our reflects. Not too shabby. I can't complain with that. Half watt between the radios, and then a 1/4 watt going to the dummy load. Not going to complain there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a break and come back. We're going to carry it back to this radio and this radio so we can take the striker out of the mix. Go ahead and get that one shut out. And we'll come back and we'll show you how much this one does on peak and average, and then how much this one does on peak and average. And this one right here will make everybody's eyes floor. Alright, TinMan and the BAM, I appreciate it. Oh, I forgot to show you voltage. Well, you need voltage on the 2x8, so we'll be back at that. Don't pay attention to that number, W5. Alright, TinMan, we're back. Back with Mr. B's 2x8. Alright, so let's get back with the show. 2500 watt slug and peak. I went over the meters. 1000 watt slug and average, lights not on. 5 watt reflect to the Burt 2000 watt dummy load. 5 watt reflect between. We're going to start out with this 99V and the radio. So we're going to start out with both of them up. No biasing. Master 2-peel, 8-peel. Show you what we got. On this radio, we're seeing right at 1750 on the peak scale, and a little bit less than 600 on the average scale. Now, voltage, 14.8 here, and we're at about 6, a little less than 6, and about 1750 on the peak scale. All right, so let's go to my what I call my average slammer. Alright, 2x8 still on the average 99V, a little bit off. Alright, so let's show you 1000 watt and average. Watch this. I don't care about that. Even though it's peak, a lot of people like it. I don't care for it, but we'll show both. Slams 1000 in average. Turn 2500 watt slug. Peak kit off. Reading that top scale, guys. 1350 on average. 1350 on average. Now, voltage. 14.2, 14.3. It was down 13.8 earlier. I guess my line voltage came up from the power company. So, do want to show this. Zero. I'll have to re-zero it back out. And get this situated. Amps pull. The fans are pulling a little over an amp. There we go. Now let's show you what this thing's pulling. 205, almost 206 amps. You guys do the math. Look at what you'll be able to calculate your efficiency, your voltage. What was your voltage again? 14.1, 14.2. Now, what we can do as well, I don't know how well I can do it. Let's see if we can. We'll let you guys stare at some cardboard. Alright, set up this. Change this around here. There we go. Well, I'll just sit it there. And we'll sit this one. Sticking the wire. There we go. So what we've done here is we've hooked up the power wires to a flute meter, and I have a hair dangling. Told you I had a hair in one of my shirts. All right, so we're at 15.05. That was reading 14.9. So let's do a voltage drop on the flute. 13.6. Now that's coming at the back of the amp, and then at your connection. So you see a little bit of the voltage drop that's going on between my power supply and the amp, which is not too bad, you know, figuratively speaking. So we're here at 13.6, we'll say. So we're less than a volt, actually less than a half a volt of droppage between the clamps and the amp. That's not too bad. So at 13 point, we'll say 7 volts, we're still achieving over 1350 watts average. So now, do we want to carry it up? Let's see what we got here. 13.9. 14.1. All right, look on the average meter here. Almost 1500 watts average. All right, so let me back the voltage back down. All right, so now, I guess we'll leave that flute hooked up. Go to sideband. Now, I guess I can turn mine on sideband here, but I want to leave it on AM. But I got this one on sideband just to show you. Well, let's turn the sideband off. Let's show you how clean the amp is. I turn off these overhead lights so you guys can see. 27205. 27205. 100 hertz, 100 kilohertz by division. So let's see how clean the amp is in, where we at? We're in AM mode. That is a very, very clean amp. Let's go up to 2 kilohertz by division. We should be seeing the first and second harmonic right at the edge. Nothing in between. There may be a little spy one right there, but I would not complain with that. So, clean. Now I'm going to turn on the biasing, and let's see if it gets dirty. And I have not tested this, so this is going to go live. So it should not make it dirty, if I may say. Even cleaner. Look at your first and seconds pop up even taller. Beautiful. All right, let's drop to sideband. Have my radio on upper sideband. Beautiful. Now let's look at the scale here. Let's look at our voltage. 13.6, 2500 watt slug, still an average. Almost 1700 bird. Yeah. Alright, so turn that off. 8 to master. We're going to come back and hook up his radio and see what we get. Alright, TinMan here in the BAM. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Striker. Well, no striker. Long story short, short story long. We went to go test with a striker, which, you know, we've been doing all this testing beforehand, and we did 2 keys up with the with his new striker, and went to do a 3rd key up, and poof, it toasted the drivers, the 22290s. So we went back in there, put 2 new drivers in it, and we retested everything. Retested it with his. I'm not going to disclose what happened, what's going on with the radio. It's not my place. But there's some issues going on with the radio, and he's going to contact the guy that had worked on it for him. So amp's back working 100%. Had to retune the output a little bit because well, when we started testing, we tore some stuff apart. So anyway. No, that was not echo. All right, TinMan here in the band with Mr. B. Mr. B, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I appreciate it. You guys, TinMan in the band, we're gone. Bye. Bye.